What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Millzy, back with Hometown Commander, back for another episode of Hometown Opens, show where I open some product for you. And today we are cracking into our first Modern Horizons 3 collector booster box. I'm really excited to finally get to open this product. The spoilers were a ton of fun. There are a lot of really good things in this product, and so I'm definitely excited to get it open. As a small plug, everything I pull from this box will be listed up onto my TCG Player store, which is going to be down in the description below. I can't promise that when you watch this video and you click on this link that the cards will be there, but all of them will be posted. So if you're interested in buying any of them or buying anything from me, please go check that out. 12 Modern Horizons 3 collector boosters. I am opening this up on the day of release, 6/14, so I'm excited to see what we can pull from this. There are some things, of course, I'm interested in for myself, but this box is just for the store, so I'm intrigued to see what we can find. I love that in this set, it's not just good things that common and uncommon. You're not just things that rare and mythics. You have things that common. I've gotten Band and Pauper and other great cards. So those are our commons, uncommons. We're looking for a few of them are worth some decent, at least some halfway decent money. Like Vexing Bauble is still pretty high up there. The Full Art Lands, let me know in the comments, what do you think of the Full Art Lands? I really like that they have the Eldrazi flair to them. I just wish that Wizards would make more Full Art Lands and make them more easily available. We have Meltdown in the retro border. A Cursed Marauder, foil a retro. Our first rare is a Ripples of Undeath. Kind of interesting at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, mill 3 cards. You can pay 1 and 3 life. If you do put a card from among them into your hand, could be interesting for graveyard decks. We see a borderless Ulalak Fused Atrocity, the commander of the Eldrazi Incursion commander deck. Of course, this card very popular at the moment. Very new and exciting Eldrazi commander. We see Aether Revolt. Of course, always cool to see Magic cards that are named after Magic sets. So I'm caring about energy. Ooh, a borderless Sowing Mica Spawn. This card I think is kind of interesting. I don't know how much this sees play outside of Eldrazi or maybe Fungi decks, but I think it's cool letting you get a land, any land on the battlefield, which could be important for some decks. Maybe this sees play in the decks that want certain lands. And then if it was kicked, you can exile one of your opponent's lands, maybe. And then a foil extender, Dreamtide Whale. A card that, I'll be honest, I don't completely get. Our player casts their spell each turn, proliferate. Okay, that makes more sense. I don't know why I was just thinking it was a cheap vanishing card, but okay, it's interesting for sure. I mean, I can't think of any decks off the top of my head that really want it. I mean, maybe if you're playing an Atraxa pile who wants some more proliferate, but I'm sure somebody in the comments is going to immediately tell me, Millzy, you're missing X commander, and I hope I'm wrong. Please tell me down in the comments. Draw's Claw. Landscapes. What do you guys think of the landscapes? I find them at least interesting. I feel like for 2 and 3 color decks, they're going to be kind of interesting for some. Hopefully the price sits at a point where they can be affordable as more ramp for people. We get a foil borderless or foil full art planes, Skoa Ember Mage, another Meltdown, but this time in foil. Kind of an interesting card. An X board wipe knocking out artifacts. Seems like it could be really good in Commander, especially with how many artifacts we have laying around. A foil Sylvan Safekeeper. We'll take it. Card I expect to see lots of play with its reprint. And a lot of these deserts and land-based decks running around. Overclocked Electromancer from the Commander set, the energy deck. Fanatic Aronas. Here's a card I'm very excited about. A 2-mana Snake Druid that taps for a green or taps for 4 green if you have a creature with power 4 or greater, going right into Goreclaw, and it can eternalize back. Great, so that if somebody destroys it. And then one of the reprint exclusives in the borderless frame, in the retro frame, Dress Down, kind of an interesting card. And we see a foil borderless Ugin's Labyrinth. This is an interesting land I expect to see a lot of play. I'm not sure if it's going to be a modern land or not. I mean, I can see the potential of it, tapping for double colorless, but I think this will see a lot of commander play, being able to tap for 2 colorless. All you got to do is exile a card with mana value 7 or greater from your hand, but you can also get it back later. Kind of feels like a good way to throw a card maybe you can't play right now into it to get more mana, and then get it back when you can. Foul Strike is one of these cards that on the art that just intrigues me. I love Magic art, and especially when it makes me question things. Another island. Oh, there we go. Dragon's Rage Channeler reprint in the retro art. Of course, still very popular in some of our other Eternal formats. Stoked to see that. Another Skoa. Emerald Medallion, foil, regular rare. Love seeing the medallions get reprinted. The borderless ones are beautiful. I hope we get to see one here in this opening, but very excited to see them get reprinted. Of course, Emerald Medallion is a card I've played for a long time. And Gorkalaw. Well, there's our commander card. Tarmogoyf Nest from the Graveyard Overdrive precon, letting you make Tarmogoyf tokens. Very interesting. I'm intrigued to see if this card sees any play outside of those decks. It could be fun to put it in a deck that cares about tokens, if maybe that's something that you could utilize, but I guess we'll see. A extended art Harbinger of the Seas, new Merfolk card, making all lands into islands, definitely pairing well with those Island Walk Merfolks. I'm intrigued to see if this sees much play outside of Commander. I know this is going to be a slam dunk Commander card. Well, our first fetch is Bloodstained Mire. Love it, love it, love it. Bloodstained is a, of course, one of our 5 Khans Tarkir fetch lands that got reprinted here. Love the art. It's now available in borderless frame and in the retro frame. And it looks like we have a special guest. This is Thought Not Seer. Interesting. I'm not entirely sure what the cost is these days on Thought Not Seer. I know that it's a it was a popular card from times past. I'm not sure what play Thought Not Seer is seeing recently, but cool. We got our first special guest out of our box. Special guest this time around, kind of interesting. All 5 of the Evoke Elementals, as well as some other interesting cards. So maybe we can see if we can get another one of those. If I recall correctly, the Shuffle Titans have 2 versions. The retro border reprints and that special guest reprint, if I recall correctly. Someone can correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong on that. Grim Servant, kind of interesting, and Johnny Fills the Godsire. And Sink into Stupor. Dual-faced cards are back, giving a spell on the front side and a land on the back side. If we learned anything from Zendikar Rising, the popular ones are very good, and so I'm intrigued to see which ones from this time around see some play. We have Jolted Awake and a foil retro Dragon's Rage Channeler. We'll take it, at least a very playable card in other formats. Power Balance, that is our bundle promo, but here we have the regular art in foil. Aggressive Biomancy is a card that intrigues me a ton. Create X tokens that are copy of target creature you control, except they have when this creature ETBs, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. I think there's a lot of decks that are going to be taking advantage of this card, and I'm very much dreading the first time it gets played against me. We have a borderless Abstruse Appropriation. This is a removal spell I really like the look of. It's devoid, so it should get around creatures that have protection, which is pretty cool. You exile non-land permanent, and then you can cast it for as long as it remains exiled and pay mana as lower mana of any color. That just seems like a great ability. Maybe some games you take your opponent's important mana rocks or something like that, or other games you go for their big nasty permanents, Ristic Study, Smothering Ties, things like that. I think this is an interesting card, and I'm intrigued to see how much it gets played, especially with it being in the color that's kind of well known for their removal. We get the borderless version of Kalia the Vast. I believe there are there's 2 borderless versions. This is the profile version, and then you have the other borderless version. Kalia, of course, a very popular commander in her own right. Love seeing her back and getting a reprint here in a pretty new frame. And a foil borderless Strix Serenade. Of course, the callback to Swan Song, except this time it actually counters a couple of different things. Love that foil. That is beautiful. Strix Serenade. I like seeing it. I'm intrigued to see how much it sees play, targeting artifacts, creatures, or planeswalkers. So maybe not the most popular creature types in our format, but hey, it can counter commanders. It can counter a lot of other things, so I'm sure we'll at least see some play. Another landscape there, Rendering Bolt, Consuming Corruption, and a Pinnacle Monk, so a monk, so a prowess creature. Another planes. We see Brain Surge, our callback to Brainstorm, but for 3 mana, and you do 4 instead of 3, and put back 2 instead of 2 in lieu of the 2, same as 2 last time. We get a foil borderless snow-covered wastes. I'm really intrigued to see if people are really going to play these. I think they're cool, don't get me wrong, but I just wonder if people are really going to want them. We get Genku, Future Shaper. Kind of an interesting new commander. Been seeing this one around a lot. Just got featured on Game Nights. Selective Obliteration. So I know that some of the Eldrazi cards didn't get extended art. So that's why this one isn't an extended, it's just an irregular. But it says each player chooses a color, then exile each permanent unless it's colorless or one of the chosen colors. Kind of interesting. A pretty brutal board wipe for some tables for sure. We get the profile Genku, so interesting, a Genku and a Genku profile in the same pack. And we see Rael, Moon Sun Mage. Our new Flipwalkers are here, and Rael is one of the 5. This one looks kind of fun for your spell slinging decks. Costs 1 less to cast on the front, and if you cast a spell, you can flip it. If you call it right, he flips to the back. +1 can get you that reduction every turn, and that -8 just gets you a little kind of mini... take everything off the top 8 and cast them for free. What a great ability. And then our last card is Roshin, Roaring Prophet in the foil etched. This new Roshin's kind of interesting. When ETBs, you mill 6. You can put any card with X in its mana cost from among them into your hand, and you can reveal cards with X in them in your hand and add double colors for each of them. I'm sure it'll be used in some X spell deck, you know, for sure. I don't think it's the greatest thing in the world, but again, I'm sure I'll get proved wrong. Somebody's going to find that perfect deck to put it in and take real advantage of it. I hope they do. It's an interesting card nonetheless. I just don't see it being a slam dunk commander, or anything like that. Hexgold Slith, but an interesting card in draft. We see some Eldrazi's here. Essence Reliquary, Furnace Hellkite, Nadier's Nightblade getting a reprint. Happy to see that. A card that's well used in tokens decks as a finisher for getting some life drain on your opponents. Lion Umbra in the retro frame, a new Umbra. So the Umbra armor enchantments are back. Love to see them. Line number 3/3 Vigilance and Reach is a great rate for just double green. And a foil retro It that heralds the end, the new cost reducer for big Eldrazi's and giving everything +1/+1. Love this frame. The frame for the retro there is kind of odd for the colorless. Kozilek's Command, a new command for Eldrazi, can make you Scion, Scry, exile a creature or exile cards from graveyards. Kind of interesting. We see Sawhorn Nemesis, the new dinosaur from the commander deck. Shout out to the r/dinosaurs MTG community on Reddit. Sawhorn Nemesis enters battlefield. Choose a player. If a source would deal damage to the chosen player or permanent they control, just double that damage instead. Kind of interesting for sure, and I'm so sure we'll see a lot of plays in dinosaur decks. We get a extended art Wooded Foothills, one of my 2 favorite fetch lands of all time. So stoked to see it in some new frames and some new arts. Always been one of my favorites, and happy to see it here. Next up, we have a Toxic Deluge in the retro frame. Of course, one of the most prolific black board wipes in the commander. Love seeing it get a reprint here. And then, what do we have here? Flare of Cultivation, foil borderless. This is a flare I expect to see some good play in Commander. I'm not sure how much play it'll see outside of Commander, but I love the card. It's always great being able to get something like Cultivate for just sacrificing a creature. I'm sure it'll be well used in some decks. Sure, the creature does have to be non-token, right? But I still think it's going to be something that is well played and well used. Man, some of these collector boosters really just do not want to open, do they? We have just made it halfway through the box, so interesting nonetheless so far. Got some fun pulls, right? And that's always good. Spell the Unworthy, Evolution Witness. What do you guys think of Evolution Witness? This is a card I think we'll see some play. Basically being able to do the Eternal Witness effect every time a counter is put on it. There's a lot of decks that can really take advantage of that, especially since this is an elf. It's like it'd be a slam dunk in those Galadriel decks. Let me know what you think of it. It's a card I expect to see some good play. We got our first mountain there. Tune the Narrative in the old art. Draw a card, get 2 energy. Consuming Corruption. 2 mana instant, deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, and you gain X life or X's number of swamps you control. I'm sure that'll be useful for some mono black decks for sure, as a way to get some removal. We have Wrath of the Skies, a new mono white, board white. Ooh, we get a foil borderless Omo, Queen of Vesuva, the lead of the Tricky Terrain deck. Kind of a fun commander. That's up on the channel now if y'all are interested in seeing my brew for that one. Ooh, that was one of the lands I was hoping to see at some point. Shifting Woodland. This is the new one of the new 5 monocolor lands they have in Modern Horizons 3. Tap for a green, comes to tap unless you control a forest, and for 4 you can make it become a copy of a target permanent card in your graveyard until end of turn, only if you have the Delirium, though. Love this card. This will be going, when I get another copy or two, it will be going in a couple of the decks that I have for sure. We have a borderless, retro border Flooded Strand. Love the art on that one. Cool to see another fetch land. And we have a foil borderless Emerald Medallion. I absolutely love this card. I love the medallions. I love the art on them. Of course, I love Emerald Medallion. It's been in a card that's been in my Goreclaw deck for a very long time. And I will definitely having to be upgrading to this borderless version in the future. But not this one. This one will be going up in the shop. Love the medallions. Happy to see them reprinted. Even the Commander Masters reprints of them didn't drop their price too much. So hopefully another one will keep dropping it some more and more. Another landscape there. And we've got a couple more of the new modal double face cards that are 2-color, which is cool. I'm intrigued again to see how much play those get. Sling Gang Lieutenant, reprint there from, that's Modern Horizons 1 logo. So reprint for Modern Horizons 1 in the old frame. Jolted Awake for the foil. Null Drifters are rare, so Mull Drifter, but in Eldrazi seems kind of interesting. We get Seda, the face commander of the Creative Energy deck, but here we got an extended art. That's kind of cool. So there's 3 versions. You have borderless, you have extended art, and you have regular. And we see the Necro Bloom. It's a commander I'm kind of excited to play around with. I've been looking for a deck for the Gitrog for a long time, and I think this might be it. This one's going to be up on the channel this week when you see this video, and I'm excited on that one. We see Sorin of House Markov, another flip planeswalker. On the front, we have Sorin of House Markov. Beginning your post-combat main phase, if you gain 3 more life this turn, we can flip it. And on the back, you can make a food, deal damage equal to the number of life you gain this turn to any target, and get control of a creature and it becomes a vampire. So, interesting. I like the new Sorin. I think it looks kind of interesting. I'm sure there's a ton of decks that are going to be able to take advantage of it. And then our foil is a foil extended art, Ripples of Undeath. I'm intrigued to see how much play Ripples is going to get. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of graveyard decks that'll love that cheap mill every turn in order to get it off that way. So we'll see. We'll see what it ends up, shaking out as in our format. Monstrous Vortex. This is a card I can't wait to slam into Goreclaw. And probably Pantlaza too. Whenever you cast a creature spell with mana or power 5 or greater, discover X, where X is that spell's mana value. Great card. I think this is going to get played in a lot of creature decks for an added way just to get some extra ramp or get some extra card draw or extra spells from your deck. Hard Evidence, create an 0/3 Crab. And Investigate, that's from Modern Horizons 2. Galvanic Discharge, a new energy-based damage spell from Modern Horizons 3. We have a foil for Phyrexian Tower. Happy to see Phyrexian Tower get a reprint. I think it really needed one for the price it was at. And we see one here in both regular and borderless. So lots of fun new options for Phyrexian Tower other than just that secret lair. But they're in the foil. Lazotep Quarry, a new desert. Tap for a colorless. Sack a creature for any 1 color. Or sack a desert to exile a target creature card with mana value X from your graveyard and make a token of it that's 4/4 zombie. Interesting ability. I think this is going to see a lot of play in those Yuma and Hazazen decks if that's something they care about. But if not, I guess we'll see. A extended art Flooded Strand. So 2 Flooded Strands in the same box. Beautiful art. Love seeing it. Here we go. We got a Shuffle Titan here, but this is the retro frame reprint that I talked about in Endurance. Endurance is one that I've always been intrigued to see how much play it was always going to see, being able to shuffle something in. But it is an elemental, which some decks care about. An interesting card nonetheless. And we followed up immediately with a retro foil Subtlety. So that's kind of interesting to see those two back to back. Of course, 2 of our 5 Shuffle Titans there, which is cool. Actually, just earlier today in my pre-release kit that I bought from a local store, I actually pulled a Special Guest Fury, so that's actually going to be up in the store as well. So cool to see the Shuffle Titans. I know, of course, or the Shuffle Titans, the Evoke Elementals. I know they're not as, of course, not as popular as they were a few months ago when multiples of them, weren't banned, but still cool to see them and get a reprint nonetheless. Wormcoil Larva. Priesthood Titania, finally getting that reprint there. And New to Modern, which is still pretty cool. I think the reprint's more important than it being New to Modern to me, because obviously I don't really play much Modern, but excited to see it. Aether Spike, Hard Evidence, Necro Dominance. So our new interesting black enchantment. I'm not sure how I feel about Necro Dominance yet. Skip your draw step at the beginning of your end step. You can pay an amount of life. If you do draw that many cards, your maximum hand size is 5. And if a card or token would be put in your graveyard from anywhere, exile instead. It's not like, I'm blanking on the name of the other one, not Necro Duality. The other one, of course, in this style where you pay life to exile it and then put it into your hands. You get around the draw restriction. I think that's the only interesting thing about this one, but probably makes it a little bit more fair. I'm intrigued to see what this sees play, if it sees play, predominantly. Filigree Racer comes in, gets you some energy. You can pay energy to give a card jumpstart in your graveyard. Intrigued to see if any spells decks play this. I doubt it, but it could be fun. Ooh, Invert Polarity, the new flip a coin counter spell. If you flip a coin and you win the flip, you gain control of the spell. If you lose the flip, you counter the spell. It's such a fun card. It feels so is it in a lot of ways. And I know there are a lot of coin flip players who are stoked for this card. Kappa Cannoneer sees its first reprint, I believe, outside of the Karlov Manor decks. But here we go, New to Modern and the Retro Frame. I love Kappa Cannoneer. It's been fun to play around with this card, and I know that it's going to get some more love. And we have a foil borderless Flayed Titan of Fire's Fury. The Escape Titans from Theros are back. We have a new one, basically giving you a lightning helix type effect. This one's interesting. I'm intrigued to see where this one's going to see play in the course of all the formats. I'm not sure, is 3 mana deal 3 gain 3 enough in certain older formats? I guess we'll find out. But I'm sure some decks will try this out in Commander as well. I don't know if it would be a Commander. It's not as... To me, it's not as breakable as something like Uro, but I think it's still interesting nonetheless. Fanged Flames. No Vexing Bubble yet. Now, that's the big uncommon that everybody's looking for. Unstable Amulet. New energy artifact. Abiding Grace, reprint from Modern Horizons 2. Crabomination. 6 mana, 5/5, emerge from artifact for 7. When ETB's target opponent exiles the top card of their library, a card at random from their graveyard, and a random card from their hand, you may cast a spell from among them without paying its mana cost. Oh, that's interesting. It is a demon, notably. I'm sure there's somebody that cares about that, especially if you have those Be'lakor decks running around. That could be a ton of fun. Inversion Behemoth from the Eldrazi Commander decks. We have a borderless Ruby Medallion. Red Medallion. Again, pretty art. Absolutely love seeing these borderless frame break cards we have now. Oops. Wheel of Potential borderless. I'm intrigued to see how much this card sees play outside of the energy decks that I think can really take advantage of it, but I'm intrigued to see where this sees play, whether it's just a draw 3 for 3 mana, or if you have nothing left in your hand, or if people really, really use it. And then a foil borderless Crabomination. Interesting to see 2 of them in the same pack. It's been a while since I've seen that. I mean, I know we saw it with Genku a few packs ago, but just interesting. You really hope for more out of that last slot. But, oh well, nonetheless, we move on to our final pack. Again, love seeing the landscapes. Urza's Cave seems kind of interesting. I don't know if it's going to see much play for a lot of people. To me, I think it's interesting as a way to search for other lands. We get a Retro Border Victimize reprint, which is good. Victimize is a great recursion spell, and a lot of people love it. We get a foil Tune the Narrative. White Orchid Phantoms are rare. Love the look of this one for Spirit decks and Night decks. I'm sure there's going to be some decks out there that love that one. Gluttonous Hellkite, Double X Jund Dragon, sacrificing X creatures when they come in and getting you +1/+1 counters on it. We see 6. So, of course, Wrenn 6 made popular by finding its way into Modern in one of our original Modern Horizons sets, and now 6 is back on their own. This card is going to be bonkers for your graveyard decks, especially your graveyard land decks. I'm intrigued to see how much play this sees. I mean, I'm obviously things like Muldrotha and Windgrace are going to play this right away, but I'm intrigued to see how much we see this in Commander. Well, we'll go back to back with another popular card, Warren's Soul Trader, a new sack outlet and a great one at it. Pay 1 life, sack another creature to get a treasure is a bonkers ability. You don't need me to tell you that you don't need me to tell you that this goes infinite with Chatterfang. This goes infinite with a lot of other things. Or goes very well with things like Chatterfang. This card is great. I can't wait to see it where it gets played. I mean, it's going to be basically another sack outlet for a lot of decks. And our last card is a foil retro frame Flare of Malice, our black flare. I don't think we saw another flare we saw the green one. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker with the greatest mana value among creatures and planeswalkers they control for mana instant. The flares are really intriguing. I can't wait to see them get played more. I think the white one is a slam dunk in a lot of decks. Same thing with the blue one in Commander. I think the red one may be very useful in like spell slinging decks. The green one I think is still good. The black one, it's odd. It's a little bit more expensive of like a Soul Shatter, so I'm intrigued to see if it like really gets valued for that. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what comes of the flares and how people use them. But friends, that is our first collector box here on the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed opening this with me. I think we got a lot of fun stuff. Like I said, as this video is posted live, these cards will be posted up on the store if that's something you're interested in. I've got 2 more collector boxes coming for the store that I'm going to be opening up on the channel as well. Those are going to be in a video together. I'm hoping I can get Mikey here to help me with that one so we can open those up for you. Let me know, what was your favorite pull of the video? What did you enjoy seeing? I mean, there's so many cool cards here to actually physically see in person for the first time and see their art. I mean, I love that Emerald Medallion as a green player. Shifting Woodland as a card I expect to see a lot of play. Love seeing the fetch lands. Love seeing the removal spells. Love seeing the borderless cards. But let me know what you think, and I will catch you guys next time.